Hey, what's going on, everybody? Figured I'd do a Would You Rather. I haven't done one in a week. That's longer than I usually go. So, let's jump into it without me doing a goofy little intro where I kind of piss you off by taking up more time than you anticipated at the beginning of the video before jumping into questions. Alright, let's go. First and foremost, in the spirit of election season, and this is, of course, at yourather.com, would you rather vote for Barack Obama or vote for Mitt Romney? That's actually really surprising. Of all the choices, I've never even thought about this one on here, but that's pretty cool that they have this on here. I'm wondering who's... Well, I'm not wondering. I guarantee, because this is the internet, and everybody who knows how to use the internet is at least tech-savvy enough to use the fucking internet, which probably means they're not a super right-wing conservative. You know, sorry to stereotype there. But, you know, some stereotypes are there for a reason. You know, it seems to be that really, really conservative redneck people don't understand technology and wouldn't be taking part in something like this website anyway. So, I'm going to say Barack Obama, obviously. But I'm going to say, I have to guess first. Let's guess. I'm going to say it's 65% Barack Obama and 35, well, obviously 35% Mitt Romney. So, let's see how close I am. Oh, all right, 79% Barack Obama, 21% Mitt Romney. That's even more disparate than I thought. Man, the internet must really be crazy liberal. You know, this is the confusing part about politics, is because both sides must think that they're winning at all points, because the people who are voting for Mitt Romney are primarily using mediums like TV, newspapers, things like that, and so when they look at polls that are conducted through those mediums, they're probably thinking, holy shit, Mitt Romney's doing awesome. But then you get online, and the people who are online for the most part are supporting Obama, and so then they get their online polls and all their information here, and they just think, holy shit, Obama's just winning by a landslide. And so it's just an interesting example of confirmation bias, but wow, I would not have expected 79% Barack Obama. That's a pretty big lead. Would you rather eat only human remains for the rest of your life or starve to death? Jesus Christ. I mean, I guess if you only eat human remains, I'm going to get like mad cow disease, kind of like microencephaly, messed up head, you know, brain eating holes in itself, that kind of shit. And I'm not looking for that, you know, that's not in my ideal future. So, well, I guess neither is starving to death, but if I'm going to die, I'd rather go out, you know, dignified as opposed to, you know, with half of a thigh bone hanging out of my mouth like a fucking disgusting carnival side act of this boy who'd been eating human meat and nothing else for like 10 years until he just withered away and died. Like, that would be a life that wouldn't be worth living, I think. Especially since I don't know what human meat tastes like. I'm sure it changes depending on the age of the person, the gender of the person, what they're eating, obviously. So I guess it depends on the person. If I can get like a bunch of really well-fed, you know, corn-fed Southern boys to kind of, you know, keep me fed, that might not be too bad. But if I'm having to deal with, like, you know, French women who are skinny and smoke all the time, that's not going to be a good meat texture, and I don't think I'm going to be okay with that. But regardless, I'm going to pick starve to death, because I don't think I could ever eat more than a couple servings of human meat, you know, just based on experience so far. 51% said starve to death, 49% said eat human remains. You know, I can't really judge you for this one, because you're not going to survive long on human remains. Maybe they just wanted to say goodbye to their family, have a nice, you know, foot bone sandwich or something like that. I guess you wouldn't eat the bone, but whatever, don't ask questions. Would you rather eat only lima beans the rest of your life, or be allowed to eat your favorite meal but only 3 times a week? Oh my god, Jesus Christ, yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd die if all you ate was lima beans the rest of your life, aside from the fact that they taste like grim death. 3 meals a week? I mean, that's only 3 meals a week that are my favorite meal. It doesn't say I can't make myself other meals. And even so, if it is only 3 meals a week, guess what, bitch? I'm just going to get like a huge, giant, you know, full rack of ribs and like a big lamb thigh and like all these awesome things. And then they didn't say I can't keep leftovers. Throw it in the freezer. Have a nice meal. You know, it's 3 times a week. I can eat for 2 days off the same big meal. I'll be fine with that. And hell, I'll just take the 7th day off. You know, I'll just take Sunday off. Like my dad, and just rest. Alright, next one. Oh, wait, forgot to pick. 92% agree with me. 8% of you are functionally retarded. Nothing more to say. Would you rather have the feeling of being kicked in the testicles for 12 hours a day, or never be able to produce healthy children? I mean, this isn't even a question. Clearly, I would rather never be able to produce healthy children, because, I mean, that would ruin your life. That would ruin your life. You couldn't do anything if you had the feeling of getting kicked in the testicles 12 hours a day. That would be 12 hours a day where you were doubled over and you couldn't do anything. Like, you physically couldn't do anything. It would be life-ruining. And even if you could somehow just, like, get used to the pain eventually and, like, stand up and, like, that pain in the bottom of your stomach and it just feels awful like you're going to vomit, like, that's just the worst feeling in the world. No way in hell would I deal with that 12 hours a day. After, like, a week of that, I'd probably put a gun in my mouth. Like, there's no way. That'd be awful. So I would rather never have children. Plenty of kids that I could adopt out there that need a loving faja. You know, I could do that. 66% said never be able to have children, and 34% said they'd rather have the feeling of being kicked in the testicles for 12 hours a day. All right, well, how about you go get kicked in the testicles once if you're in that party of 34%, and then come back and tell me how much you want that to be in your future 12 hours a day, because I guarantee you're going to switch sides. You're wrong. You're objectively incorrect on this one. Sorry. And even so, we don't need any more kids on this planet, goddammit. We have plenty of fucking kids. We're good. We are good on the population limit. We don't need any more. It's fine. No pressure. This isn't like, 200 BCE where we have to be struggling to keep our population up in certain subsects of humanity. We're happy. We're in a good place. Would you rather only use Windows or only use Macintosh? I would rather only use Windows, which is funny because I'm using a Mac right now. But based on what I've ascertained so far, because I've had this Mac for over a year. I like it. It's a good computer. I just prefer Windows, I just prefer Windows, I guess. So I'm probably going to go back to Windows after this unless my good buddy Max, who is a huge proponent of Macintosh products, can convince me once again to re-up with Mr. Jobs. 73% said Windows, 27% said Macintosh. I guess that means 73% of us have jobs, and 27% are graphic design majors or something. I don't know. That didn't really make sense because I don't know how to do graphic design or anything. And like I just said, I'm using a Mac. Would you rather never have... Oh, I've done this one before. Would you rather be near deaf or hear everything 2 minutes later? And real quick caveat here. If I ever do some of these questions multiple times, usually it's just because I forgot. If I notice that I've done it before, I'll quit it. But you don't need to point it out in the comment section. I know some of these are bound to repeat. I don't get to pick the order of them. Anywho, be near deaf or hear everything 2 minutes later. What's near deaf mean? Near deaf. Is that a comparative term? Near is definitely a comparative term. So I am near deaf right now compared to a jackrabbit. And so that's what I'm going to think with this. That's how I'm interpreting this. So I am near deaf in my current state with fully functional human ears because I am near deaf compared to a jackrabbit or some animal with dank-ass hearing. I don't want to hear everything 2 minutes later because that would be phenomenally confusing. I couldn't watch any movie ever. I couldn't listen to any song ever. I couldn't have any conversation ever. It would just be the most muddled, awful existence of confusion, and it would be terrible. Just think about that for a second. It'd be like you get called while you're watching this video to go watch or go eat dinner with your family. Meanwhile, the TV's on, your parents are having a conversation. You're hearing everything from my video still, and you're hearing like the sound of yourself walking down the hallway, but it's 2 minutes later and you're already eating and you're chewing, and then you finish eating, but you're still hearing the sound of yourself chewing in your head. It'd be a really terrible existence. If you pick this one, you're wrong. I'm picking near death. 60% agree with me, 40% didn't even begin to think of the ramifications of their choice. I'm sorry, you didn't. Would you rather overdose on every drug at the same time or fall off a 100-story building? Okay, so death is imminent. I want to overdose on every drug. Overdose me on every drug. Just give me all of them. Because I guarantee if I do feel anything, it's going to be just extreme pleasure for like 5 seconds, and then I'll just be out. I'll just be overdosed. Just done. Finished. The end. I don't know what, or maybe, if comic books or things like that are real, by taking every drug and overdosing on it, maybe it would give me a simultaneous resistance to all the drugs, and I'd become some sort of super meth addict or something like that. We can always look at that. But falling out of the 100-story building, I don't want my family to deal with that. It's going to be a huge mess. Like, I don't want, like, my limbs are going to be all far apart, like my body's going to explode. There's like a balloon of just blood and just bile and pus. Just not going to be a good thing to clean up. And I don't want to make a poor Mexican guy working on the street cleaning crew have to deal with that. I'm a nice guy. So I'd much rather just overdose on drugs. At the very least, overdose me on a few of the fun drugs. Ask me to do some fun stuff first. Maybe while I'm overdosed, I'll get a wild hair at my ass to go out and jump off a 100-story building. Then everybody wins, except for the street cleaner, as I already said. Anywho, sorry about that. My voice, if it's a little bit raspy, I don't know why. It's just been, my throat's been hurting me the last few days. But that's all I have to say. For this video. By the way, 55% agree with me on the drug overdose, and 45% would rather jump off to their death. Yeah, to each their own in that choice. Have some fun. Hope you enjoyed, and I love you.